Hello, everybody. Good morning. I am Cateno Barberi. I am product manager on Sage ERPX3 in the central team. We are going to start this web session on the development extension on Sage ERPX3. We are happy to present to you this topic and thanks for your involvement. I present this web session with Elizabeth Brazil and Solon Baraklu of R&D team. Elizabeth, Solon, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm in charge of the quality assurance and especially of the development rules.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Solon Baraklu. I'm in charge of the QA team in the X3 R&D department.
Thank you, Solon. I suggest you to ask your question on the end presentation. The objective of this web session are inform and remind you about the technical development rules for extended solution based on Safe X3, clarify answers to the following recurring questions: what are the different kinds of development extensions? What are the developing points to respect? What are the points to check? But also simplify and share the same vocabulary. And the main target, facilitate the integration of several development extensions in the single customer folder. This slide explains what are the definitions of the development extensions on the Sage ERPX3. Now it's very important to share together the same vocabulary. 1 year ago, we launched a marketing program called Add-on Catalog. Its target is to reference the add-ons developed by the Sage partner and allow them to distribute their add-ons to other partners. We have decided to organize this part in order to facilitate the implementation of these add-ons. So, as you see, of course, there are two parts. The core managed by R&D team, core functionality, and the part developed by the partner or by the Sage team services. On the development extension, there are three parts: the business add-on, the asset, and the customer customization. Their definition are: all extensions are developed by Safe X3 platform. But a business add-on is developed only the X3 vertical layer. A business add-on has an identifier with two characters provided by Sage. The first one is X. A business add-on is selected by Sage. There are several categories add-ons, two dedicated to one industry. They are based on strong expertise. There are the business add-ons that are the generic function that fit all industry, and the business add-on that ensure the compliance with the local market needs. In the next slide, I will give you few examples. Then there are the assets that all partners know well. These functions are packaged and can be used several times. Of course, to finish, there are the specific developments. There are the bespoke. They are called customer customization, and generally, they are used only once. Few examples for a better understanding. The business add-ons are selected by Sage from the marketing partner program, Safe X3 program. Few examples as the ETO module dedicated for the discrete manufacturing market, or the loan management, a function dedicated for Sage ERPX3 HRM management. There are the forecast or cash book module. There are the generic function, very interesting, developed by Cardol or Parity. And there are also the business add-ons like the Romania localization or the legislation like for Switzerland. A business add-on can be dedicated for the local or global market. A business add-on can be into the business add-on catalog dedicated between partners or on the price list page. If you want more information, you can find this information on OSP. Of course, on the assets, we find many types of development. For your information, we are going to begin a program in each country where we want to identify all assets developed by our partners. We want to make a global list of all assets. Our target is to allow to share and exchange on the know-how of all partners. You will find soon this information on Sage ERP, on our Sage Place. Next one, about the development coding. Elisabeth.
Okay. Let's talk now about the evolution of the possibility for extended solution. At the beginning of CFX3, we had a location for assets in the specific layer only. Then in V5, we added a location for assets in the vertical layer. And now in V6, we add the concept of the business add-on in the vertical layer. So, as the assets and add-on can be set up in a single customer folder, we have to follow development rules. The first one is to develop in the appropriate layer. The second one is to name each element of your development beginning by the appropriate letter. Y and Z for assets and X for business add-ons. As we can have several add-ons in the single customer folder, we have to follow to use an identifier beginning by X for add-ons, business add-on. So Sage give identifier for each add-on. We don't have a lot of identifier to give, so the priority is to give for legislation add-on, and Cateno will explain that.
Yes, I just want to give you information. Most of identifiers have been given already by Sage. So the next version, Sage ERP3, will allow us to have more identifiers, so we could select more business add-on.
Yes, in the version 7, object code will be increased at 8 characters and abbreviation table also. So we can give identifier on 3 characters in version 7. Now, some development rules, especially for add-ons. The add-on development rules are defined to limit conflicts between several add-ons in the single customer folder. However, the application of these rules cannot prevent every potential functional and technical conflict. Conflicts between 2 add-ons, which are both following development rules, will need to be managed by the implementation project team. The add-on development rules are intended to evolve over time in order to enrich coexisting possibilities. The presentation today is to show you this main development rule for each layer, for each kind of development. However, detail for all the development for add-on is in OSP. The first rule is for add-on. We speak about add-on in this chapter. The first rule is to name element beginning by the identifier. For example, Polon use XD. You have to use your identifier for all the elements of the dictionary, for all your processings, and for all your parameters. Use a range given by Sage for local menu and miscellaneous tables, and also use identifier following by underscore for file you created and which don't exist yet in the software Sage ERP X3. The second rule is to do not use the action SPV. You have to use a dictionary action beginning by your identifier. Two advantages for this methodology. First, to identify your own action in the core screen, and secondly, not to share a common processing for several add-ons and assets, avoiding the usage of the vertical processing. An example here, you can have the detail of the action of the field X1 action. So this action is described on the dictionary of action, and action code and specific processing beginning by X1, the identifier of this add-on. Since the version 6.2, we add the type of a patch name add-on, and especially for add-on, and to keep the SPV action possibly developed on an asset in the vertical layer. The third point is about action on the template, like such object or inquiry. Use switch processing. It means you have to write two processing, one for your functional application and another for call your application. The goal is to never share applicative processing between two add-ons. So you see in the example, the SPV SOH is a switch processing located in the vertical processing on the dictionary. It's this one called each of the applicative processing code. So now create how to manage the integration of the switch processing in a customer folder. First, create a separate patch for all your switch processings, and then this patch will be integrated by customer if he has no other add-on or asset on the same core function. Otherwise, this patch can't be integrated to avoid overwriting existing processings. The switch processing must be updated manually. For this reason, in the main patch, you have to add your source code of the switch processing within a dedicated directory name. Add, for example, ADDSRC, and in the README file, add a list of all the switch processing names and their corresponding code processing name. Explain also the necessity to modify manually each processing code, looking at the corresponding source code processing delivery in this directory. Now we are going to study in more detail this switch processing. Remember, a switch processing is with no applicative code. Just you have to write the $action label with all the go sub toward your applicative code. The switch processing can be completed by any added add-on or asset of the vertical layer. And then your applicative code is alone and called by this switch processing. So you have this example in this slide. Two add-on. One is X1, the second is X2. The switch processing do a call by GoSub for each of them, and you can have your applicative processing in your own processing code, beginning by your identifier. If you want to manage a different call order for your action between both of the add-ons, you can specify each action in your $action in the switch processing, like the example on this slide. This slide is to show you that in several dictionaries we don't have the vertical layer, so you have to use the technical switch processing even in the specific processing, even in the specific layer. For example, in inquiries or dictionary action or entry points, if you have several add-ons or assets, use the technique of the switch processing and call each of your add-on or assets. And the technique is the same. Use only the GoSub instruction to call your own applicative processing. And if you want to manage different order for your call, you employ the same technical. About the naming of the switch processing, give the name of SPV plus the object code on the object dictionary, or for inquiry we can use the CNS plus the inquiry code plus SPE. For applicative processing, use a name beginning by your identifier. Recommendation for add-ons. It's not about the technical of development, but it's to keep and avoid conflict between several add-ons and core layer. Avoid making modification to the functionality of a core element, especially for localization, which are intended to coexist in the same customer folder. An add-on is a solution to enhance and extend the core functionality and not to bypass the core. For example, do not use the activity code on the core element to change or delete it. Do not disable a button, menu, or field. Do not change the behavior of a button or menu. Other example, use only GPE equal 1 to call the core directly, but not to avoid it. Another recommendation is better to use a menu rather than a button in a core window. And then it's better to use your own screen in a core window or create your own additional pop-up. To avoid sharing the same available space in a core screen with different add-ons installed within a single customer folder. This kind of conflict must be managed by the project implement team. Requirement to develop an add-on. You have to be compatible with Oracle and MS SQL Server database system. You have to be compatible with the following OS: Windows, AIX, Linux, and all messages must be translatable. For that purpose, use the messages of the APL-STD table. For the translation, the add-on must be translated and delivered in English and in the languages managed by the partner. For the online documentation, you have to deliver the documentation for function, fields, activity code, import-export templates, Crystal reports, etc. Recommendation for Crystal report. You have a charter defined on the wiki OSP. You have also template in the X3 main folder. These templates are named here as template RPT1 and RPT2. You can use them to have the same look and feel as the core. So now, Solon, can you explain the following?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about, let's say, quality requirements about add-ons, some rules about packaging. And in this slide, to explain you shortly how you can protect your add-on with a licensing method. The protection methodology we propose is based on the unique serial number that is provided by Sage when delivering a license to the customer. In the rules, which are published in OSP, there is an appendix explaining about two subprograms and explaining how you can protect your add-on. The first subprogram, which must remain in the hands of the partner who created the add-on, enables you to create a key file that encodes a given serial number. In reality, the key file is a compiled processing of X3. You should name this file serial _ your identifier, not to override serial files of other add-ons. This serial file should be placed in the runtime.serialization subdirectory. A second subprogram, which is delivered in the add-on package and not the source program, only the .adx file. This one will read dynamically the key file and will check that the encoding corresponds to the license number of the customer. So your add-on must call this subprogram in the relevant places of your application, your extension. As I said, the source containing this call is not delivered. The operation, the call, is blocked whenever as a feedback the variable OK equals 0. In this slide, some rules about quality and documentation. An important thing is that it is the responsibility of the partner to ensure that the add-on do not endanger any functionality of the core, that will not engender any regression. More generally speaking, it is the responsibility of the partner to ensure a complete quality of his add-on as far as development, documentation, and translation are concerned. Talking about documentation, this one should be provided with different parts. The first one is a README file, which should briefly describe the installation method of the add-on. A changelog file should trace any evolution or correction of the add-on. A user guide documentation, which will be the functional documentation, which with printed screens, printed reports, this is recommended for comprehension. Going much further than the README file, a setup guide should be provided. It composes the technical documentation and should contain a list of the switch processing names with the corresponding standard processing names and function, the list of menus and buttons added in a core window or screen, a list of field and object actions added in the core function, and a list of the entry points used in your add-on. So it's quite a complete documentation. Talking about the content of the package. The add-on should be entirely delivered in the form of an add-on package So an add-on package is like a patch list, but since version 6.2, there is a new patch type which is named add-on. This one should be used. The naming rule for patch files is given in the rules document in OSP. It's better if everybody uses the same rules for naming patch files. Each package version contains the following elements: a set of patch files that are placed in the fill patch directory, same things as in standard patch lists. The online documentation should be delivered in a separate patch file directory. A directory containing source code examples of switch processings. We recommend you name this directory ADD SRC. If you decided to protect your add-on with a serial file, the key file should be named serial_identifier and placed in a directory called .serialization. Also, any general documentation of the add-on, which can be in a PDF format, and a possible demonstration folder. Be aware that if you deliver a demonstration folder, it must be possible for the customer to import it and should be compatible with the standard patch list level of the add-on. Otherwise, the customer will have to revalidate the demonstration folder. Other rule: any utilities patched in the form of EXE maintenance must be re-executable. This is also a rule we follow in standard patch lists. Be careful. We say it again last time. The switch processing must be in a separate patch to avoid overriding of existing processings. Now, concerning maintenance and support, same thing as the partner is responsible of quality. The editor, the partner, must take charge of the add-on maintenance process. Anytime a new standard patch list is delivered, the editor must check that the last add-on package is compatible with the new patch list or not. If it is not, a new version of the add-on must be provided in a time period which should be within a month. This is quite important, because if we exceed this time period, the customer will be blocked and will not be able to integrate a new standard patch list, because we will not have same levels for the extensions. This is a heavy constraint, we are aware, but it's really important. Any compatibility information between add-on packages and standard patch lists must be communicated by the partner. We are thinking of publishing this information in a centralized page on the web, maybe on OSP. The add-on editor must also provide support for his add-ons in case of defects reported by customers. The editor must provide fixes in the next package version. But, however, hotfixes can also be provided depending on the severity of each defect. So, if it's a minor issue, no further action. The fix will be provided in the next package version. For an important severity issue, a hotfix can be directly delivered to the concerned customer if he requires it. For important or blocking issues with impact on several customers, let's say heavy impact, the partner should deliver a hotfix to the concerned customers and publish a new version of the add-on package in the same time. What I just described are generally rules that we follow for the standard patch list, and it's normal that add-ons follow the same rules as their extensions of the core product. So I give the phone again to Elizabeth, who will talk again, who will talk a little bit about the vertical layer and specific layer rules.
Yes, we spoke about add-on, and now it's a chapter about asset. And first, the vertical layer. So the rule is to use the first letter. Y and Z are better adapted for an asset development. Identifier beginning by X assigned by Sage for add-on take priority in the same customer folder. Use the letter following by underscore for field you create and which don't exist yet in the software Sage ERP X3. Use the vertical range for your message, local menu, and miscellaneous tables. For field actions, it's better to use a dictionary action rather than the SPV action. Its name starts with Y or Z. If you use action SPV, be aware that you will be exposed to conflict with any other vertical development currently being done on the same core screen. In any case, do not name your vertical processing SPV plus the object code to avoid conflict with add-on. In the screen core, other requirements for development in the vertical layer. Be careful when you complete a core function. If ever the vertical layer or specific layer in some dictionaries is used already by an add-on or a vertical asset, do not override the existing switch processing belonging to this add-on or vertical asset. In this case, and for your future developments, you have to use a strategy of the switch processing that call your own applicative processing. To use an entry point, use also the strategy of the switch processing. And to help the update of the switch processing, create a separate page for them and place an example of what the source processing should be in a dedicated directory named ADDSRC that you deliver in your patch. Complete the README file adding the reference of switch processing and the corresponding core processing. And again, never modify the usage of the core element. Now, a chapter for asset, but in the specific layer. The letter Y and Z are better adapted for asset development. And again, identifier beginning by X assigned by Sage for add-on take priority. Use a specific range for message, miscellaneous tables, and be careful when you complete a core function without vertical layer, such inquiry, action, entry points. If ever the specific layer is used already by an add-on or vertical asset, not override this existing switch processing belonging to this vertical asset or add-on. In this case, or for your future developments, it's better to use the strategy of the switch processing that call your applicative app processing. To use an entry point, use also the strategy of the switch processing. And to help the update of the switch processing, create a separate patch for them and place all the indication on the main page like the vertical layer or add-on. To summarize, and we made a list about points to check. Even if you follow all the rules, you have to verify the global functionality of the core function after add-ons or assets have been added. Verify the switch processing in the vertical layer and even in the specific layer for some dictionaries in entry point, for example. Check that coexisting field action work together in a core screen. Check that menu and button work for several add-ons in a core window. For example, avoid the same menu code for two add-ons in the same core window. Check also that the CFX3 capacities have not been exceeded. For example, number of table field, number of tabs in the window, room in the screen, etc. So, Cateno.
Okay, we finish our presentation.
Yes, thank you, Cateno, Elisabeth, and Solon. So.